This is Stefan with Backyard Projects, and today I am cleaning out the greenhouse so I can get it prepped and ready. I've got some water lines that I gotta do, and I have some cool things that I got done on the greenhouse over the summer. I am cleaning out the greenhouse so I can get it prepped and ready. I'm super excited, but now I just have to get everything cleaned out because it's a mess. So let me show you what all I need to get done. As you walk in, you can see that I've got all of this mess that I gotta clean up, but let me show you. Look at that. I have power everywhere. I'm so excited. Let me show you this thing too. Check that out. So this thing has a timer that's hooked up to the timer. And so whenever it gets to a certain temperature, it will go off and my fans will kick on. And I have those windows that open up like whenever it gets too hot. That's pretty cool. Oh, and I also got lights. I'm waiting on the light bulbs to get here, and this pipe is my sprinkler. So the deal about the sprinkler, what I did was whenever I got my sprinkler system put in, I had its own line done for just the greenhouse. So whenever, during the winter and everything, I can just set this zone and it can just hit this one zone. And then I don't have to worry about if my plants are gonna dry out in the greenhouse. And I'm gonna use like little emitters like this. And so whenever I want to do more water, I just open it up. If I want to turn it off, I can just close it. But I'm not gonna do these today. I don't think so anyway. Just because I need to just get the piping done just so I can see where everything needs to be, and I'll go ahead and put the plants in and then I'll put the misters and stuff on, just because I'm gonna have 3 heaters and so I don't want my heaters to accidentally get wet. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. But alright, so let's get started. Alright guys, so now that I have the greenhouse all cleaned and swept and ready to go, I'm now ready to hook up my water line for this project. So here is what I'm doing. Alright, so this pipe is longer than I want it to be. I want to tee it off about here somewhere, and then I'm going to screw this in to the other side, and I'm gonna go ahead and get it ready. So whenever spring comes, I can use it for out there. So I'm using this water line for multiple things. I'm using it for the greenhouse for the winter. I'm gonna switch this off from the greenhouse to go outside. And I'm going to use this stuff for the lining for the flower pots, and then I'm gonna use the other side for vegetables. I've got pretty good water pressure, and so I'm not terribly worried. And everything that I'm hooking to it is just like little nozzles. Well, you've seen them a while ago. But I do need to go ahead and get this cut and glued together, then we're all set. I keep changing my mind on this, but I was gonna put it at the very bottom and have my piping go down here, but I don't wanna have to get on the ground every time I want to turn it on and off. So I'm gonna move it up a little. And so I'm just gonna build a little block like this that I can use to do this with. But I need to go ahead and cut this other side. I had a Dremel and it's like got nothing on the Rockwell. Like, it is amazing. Very happy with it. I can cut through 2x4s like nothing. Let me show you. Wasn't that awesome? So now that I've kind of built my little box, now I can go ahead and kind of set it in place like that. There we go. And then this will just set on top. Everything will be gravy. So whenever I'm building something, I always go ahead and put my screws in first, just because it's easier to do it instead of holding this. And the other thing I do is I let that kind of stick up just a little bit, because whenever I'm doing this, it kind of pokes in there like that, and it kind of holds it in place while I'm getting it screwed back in. But I go ahead and do both screws, and then whenever I get ready, I can just go ahead and close them up. There we go. Alright, so now I just want that to sit on top. There we go. Alright. I like using the T25s instead of just the Phillips, just because it holds better, and whenever I actually have my hammer drill, they go in like crazy. So I will switch back to the longer screws just because I'm gonna do what's called a toenail. Alright, so this is what is called toenailing. You're basically kind of going in at an angle and you kind of start it a little, and then once you get in there, then you go ahead and crank it down. I'm gonna go ahead and do this other side as well. So you go in straight, and then once you kind of start getting it going, then you turn. Just like that. Now that thing's not going anywhere. So now that I have my piping, I know that I'm gonna want it to sit like almost right on it. Gonna go just a little higher just to kind of give myself some room. Now I have my little piece. I'm just gonna dry fit it on there. That was perfect. Goodness. That is perfect. Alright, so now that I've kind of dry fit it, now I can't go ahead and put this on because if I do, then I'll never get it. I'll never be able to like tighten it down because this one is threaded and that other one is not. So when you're dealing with the thread, you want to go the opposite way that you're screwing. I have had to redo these so many times because I get confused. So the way that the threads are, you want to go the opposite. Like that. And I'll show you why. So the whole reason why you're doing this is so you have like a barrier, like where you're screwing it into the other pipe. It helps keep the leaks from happening, and it just helps seal it up a little bit better. You'll know if you did it right whenever you go screw it in, because whenever you're doing it, you're going against the paper. So if you go with it, the paper is going to end up creeling up on you, or it'll get all jumbled because you're unscrewing it basically. So whenever you screw it on, it helps push the paper down even more. So it kind of gives it more of a, like a finished. So like you want to hand tighten it as much as possible. Like that. And I can't get it anymore. So then you want to take your pliers and just go like a little bit more. Like a quarter of a turn. Just because you don't want to strip out the threads, but you want it to be on there pretty well. So now let's go ahead and hook it up. Alright, so when I'm getting it ready, here's your primer and then here's your cement. So you do the primer first and then you do your cement. I go ahead and put my primer on the ground, and the reason why is because it does make a mess. Like you can see, it's all over the lid. Unscrew it just to where it's loose. And then here's my cement. I'll go ahead and open them just to get them loose, just so whenever I'm doing it, I don't have to worry about it not opening or something. All the way around. I'm going to kind of measure how deep I want it. I really don't want the blue or the purple to show up on the other side. Or like once I get it on there, I kind of want it to be a pretty clean look. So anyway, then this stuff dries really quickly. And then you go in with your glue and you just circle it like that. Now I did kind of go crazy with the glue on this just because I know how much water pressure is going to be here, and it is going to be crazy. Make sure everything is nice and straight. Alright, so now we are ready for the shutoff valve. So on this one, I'm going to do it a little backwards. So I'm going to make sure that this is clean, first off. And then I'm gonna put the glue and stuff in here just because it would be really hard for me to get around that. And another little tip is whenever you're doing it, hold this up so whenever, if any does drop out, it just leaks on the ground. It doesn't take long at all for it to dry. So now that I got it all coated, I then will go ahead and put my glue. Same thing, hold it upside down. So on this, I want to be careful because it does have that moving part on the inside. I want to be careful and not accidentally close that up. So then I'll go ahead and put it on. Now make sure everything's nice and straight. All right, so let's go ahead and secure this. So I just went and got some just regular wire. That I can kind of shape to what I need it to be. All right, so I'm gonna kind of guess on how much of this I need. I basically want it to go around like that. So on this, I'm going to kind of double this up like that, just so like I have 2 holes instead of just 1. Just kind of helps make it a little stronger. I'm gonna do the same for this one, just like that. I line up the holes, and then I'm gonna take this, I'll bend that. There we go. I finally gave way. Alright, so what I did here was I went ahead and put on my little piece, and I just did like it's only like 1.5 inches long, and I basically just kind of crimped it down in there, and I did have enough glue that whenever I pushed it down, it kind of weeped on the sides, which is fine because it's just going to give me more hold. So on this, I'm having to use 2 different pipes because I only have like this size and I want to go up all the way. So what I'm going to do is I have a coupling that I'm just going to attach them to. I like them to be a little bit cleaner than this, but so on this, I'm going to point it down because I don't want it to roll everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and prime it, let it dry, and I'll go ahead and do my glue, or the cement, whatever you want to call it. Now I don't want to put a whole bunch just because where it's going, I don't want it to glue up the switch. Then I'll put it in there, push down, and I'm going to put the lettering on the back so you don't see that. And I'll just take my little rag and clean this up to just give it a nice clean finish. Alright, if you can see, I'm still a little bit wiggly here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put another bracket like what I did up here down here. Now that I have it secure, I'm just gonna kind of clean this little edge up. Alright, so then this is when my little coupling goes on. And then I'll go through with my pipe, kind of measure, because I want it to end kind of like right there, because I'm going to put my cap there. Does that make sense? There to there. Okay, so when I'm dealing with little pieces like this, I'll go ahead and just put everything together and then attach it to my big piece. I do that because it's kind of a pain in the butt whenever it's all hooked up and you're trying to do it. It's just easier to do it this way. So here's my coupling that's gonna go on the pipe. This is gonna go on the bottom, and this is gonna go on the top. Last piece of the puzzle, right there. And again, I wanna put all the lettering that's on the pipe backwards so you don't see it. Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And I went ahead and put the tape on and got it on there just because I was able to use my pliers and really crank down on it pretty good. Not too much, but just a little bit. So I didn't go ahead and like put this one in there just because I knew that I wasn't gonna have much room, and I wanted to make sure before I drilled it that I was gonna be able to hit the stud. There we go. That is exactly what I want, because now I can attach my wire and really secure it. Yay, I got it done. So this is what the top part looks like. Let me show you what the whole thing looks like. Ooh, pretty. So anyway, now that I have this part done, now I can actually hook up my water in. And that's pretty simple. I'm going to show you a few of the steps that I'm going to do. Other than that, it's basically just hooking up piping. So let me just show you what my plans are. Alright, so I went ahead and put my pipe in, and I went ahead and secured it. So you pop it in, like that, you pop it in, and then you do this and you screw it on. And that makes like for a nice fit. Alright guys, so as you can tell, it is getting kind of dark and I still have a lot of work that I have to do. So let me kind of give you an overall what I'm going to do. Alright, so overall what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to just basically take a T like this, and I'm going to go all the way across, and then I'm going to go up and then back down. I'm going to just kind of have the lines going across up there. So I'm not going to put any emitters on it just yet. I'm mainly just wanting to get the water up there. So then once I have my plants in, I can play with the emitters and kind of test it and see like what areas I need more water, what areas I don't need as much water. But it's getting kind of dark and I wanted to go ahead and film this, so when you see it in a minute, you'll see what I was talking about. And we're back. So I do have everything done. I'll show you how I did it in just a second. But I wanted to show you what pieces that I was using and how I put it together. Alright, so whenever you're hooking up your lines and stuff, you want to like get some plugins like this that the tube goes into. Now, I will tell you, with this one, like once you put it in, you're not getting it out. I do recommend these. I love these and I can't find them hardly anymore. And I went to Lowe's and Home Depot. Now, Lowe's had a lot of these, but they didn't have like every piece. Like the 3-way, this is just a 2-way, or a corner. I just find these easier because like if I put it in and I need to, if I need to take it back off, like I just have to unscrew this nut, pull it back off. So it's pretty easy. So on some of my lines that I put in the sprinkler system, I did put some valves in, just in case I am getting too much water in a certain area, because once all my plants are in here, there's no messing with the lines, because it's so packed in here you can't do it. So I did put some lines, shut-off valves, and you just turn it like that, and it shuts it off. I had to use a cross and a PVC pipe because I couldn't find it in these little tubes. So I ended up having to get these in a couple of places just where I needed to branch it off. So same thing, you just kind of put this in there with some glue like you would just a regular pipe whenever you're doing water lines. But on this, I would coat it, and then I'd glue it, and then I'd put it in, and then the tube just goes in like that. So I did do that on a couple of them, and I got these by mistake because I thought, oh, this would be awesome to put in a line, but it's not tight enough. Alright, so let me show you how I put my lines in here. I went ahead and put lines all the way across and all the way down and over. I did 2 rows of the black pipe. I did this because I figured that once I have it up here, I'm gonna put my like big sprinklers up here to where they shoot out, and then I put the one down here just in case I have a flower pot that's not getting enough water. I can run a line to it and on the outside like this, because whenever I put my emitters in, I can just push it and it'd be easier to hook up. So I did do that for this row, just in case I need more water lines. Here's one of my tees that I tied off, and I do have that line going all the way up and over and back down. So here is one of the crosses that I did. And I screwed up and I put the barcode on this side. I was like, darn it. But on that side, I did it right. So here are my shutoff valves. So I put the shutoff valve for that direction, and then one for that direction too. So those are gonna be my main water lines. And I did the shutoff valves just in case I'm getting too much water. I also put one on the bottom too. So on the lines that I put on the lower part, I went in and put off a shutoff valve there too, just in case I don't need water there. I did go all the way around. All right, so this is how I have everything put together. So I did the T. I just came off of the PVC pipe and then tied into sprinkler. And then there's my on and off switch. Also for next summer, whenever I get ready for that project, I'll be ready. Something else that I wish I would have done is I put those things on this side of the wood, and if I had it to do over again, I would put that line on the other side, just so whenever you walk into the greenhouse, you don't see that line. I had already gotten it already piped and ready to go, and so I just kind of was stuck with it. Now, on the second line, like this, I did end up just going all the way around with it, just because it's the only line that I have that doesn't have a shutoff valve, and I don't plan on turning it off at all. So let's get some emitters and let's test this thing out, shall we? All right, so here is my little box. All right, so this is what I plan on using for the rain, or the second line at the very top, just because I can kind of open it and it'll rain down like a shower. These are actually misters. This is for whenever you have a flower pot and you want to be able to put the little bitty hose in there just to direct the water exactly where you want it to go. This is the little plug that you use to punch the 1/2 inch. This is for whenever you just kind of want it to go slow. I forget how many gallons per hour it is. It's not much at all. And then these are little plugs. So if you have a hole in it and you decide I don't need that sprinkler head there, then you take this out and then you punch this one in. I'm gonna have to find some of my other spray heads. I don't know where they went. But all right, so we'll just use these for now. This will kind of give me an idea of how it's all gonna work out. So I'm just gonna record just doing it one time, and I'll show you after, just because it's hard to be in this greenhouse without the fan because it is hot. But super easy to do. So once you have your 1/2 inch pipe everywhere that you want it to, you can either just punch it to where you have a head on it like this, or if you really wanted to like do like a certain thing, then you can just poke a hole and then use your, I think it's a 1/4 inch piping to kind of direct it exactly where you want. So on doing this, you punch it till you hear it click, and then you put your little emitter in there, kind of twist it a little bit. There you go. And then once it's in there, then you just kind of loosen it to however much water you want it to come out. If you want it to come out a lot, loosen it. If you want it to come out just a drizzle, then you just kind of tighten it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them, and I'll show you when I get back. So I now have everything hooked up. Everything is ready to go, and I'm going to turn on the sprinkler system for the first time. Let's see if we can turn it on, shall we? It's going, it's doing what I want. It is gonna take some adjustments here and there. I have really good water pressure. So on some of these, what I'm gonna have to do is, at the end, I have it clamped off, and so there's air in the hose. So I'm gonna have to like let it loose a little bit, just so I can get the whole experience of the water. For the most part, it's working. The misters, they're not working right. Other than that, it's doing okay. All right, so let me show you on this part. So because I have that thing messing up on me, I'm gonna go and turn this off like that. Then I can come over here and I can work on this. So what I'm doing right now is milking the line, and the reason why, you can kind of tell, what I have to do here is I release it and you'll hear it. There you go. So now I have full water everywhere. This is a lot of fun. Alright, so if you have a sprinkler head that is not working like it should, like this one in the corner, what you can do, I'm going to go ahead and turn that top one off. And that one as well. So then, I just kind of open it up. And then I put the lid back on it. By doing that, what happens is like dirt gets in there just because I haven't ran water through it. And what I'm doing is when I unscrew it, I release the dirt that's in there and then I put it back on. And you can really tell a difference. I am going to have to adjust some of these because I had to have heaters in here because of the winter. And so I'm going to have to place my heaters in a certain way so that when my sprinkler turns on, they don't get wet and burn out. I do have breakers or trips just in case I do get something on the heater. It's just going to shut off. Alright guys, so I'm towards the end of this video and basically I just did this so I don't really have to worry about it during the winter. And I'll be so glad that I did this, and like as soon as I get the greenhouse done. But what's neat is I can control it by my phone. So like if I'm out of town and it's like 100 degrees outside, it's Oklahoma, it happens, believe me. Then I can turn it on and not have to worry about my plants. So, alright guys, till next time, thank you guys, bye. Working like it should. Ow, just got